Good morning, Scallywags! I'm Danny.
I'm Spoo.
And I'm El Chapo. Welcome to the show.
You're finally getting to meet the infamous El Chapo, because today, as you can see, things are looking a little different. We're outside. Going to try something a little out of the ordinary today. Going to be playing a little game called What Happens Next?
Yeah, we take some of our favorite cliffhangers or shows that stop abruptly, and we try to fill in the blanks. Now, like always, these are our opinions, not necessarily for you guys, but this is what we think happened.
Yeah. What do we got first?
Okay, first show we have here, a good classic one, Alf. Now, of course, any of you familiar with the show probably remember the way it ended. Alf gets the call from fellow Melmacians. They're coming to pick him up. He runs out to the field to meet them. All of a sudden, sky fills with light, but instead of the ship, it's U.S. Army helicopters. Now, of course, there was a thing of him showing him 20 years later hosting the Tonight Show.
So how do we go from being surrounded by people that want to dissect him to has his own talk show, basically? What do you think, Dan?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is we know how it ended, so we know he's still alive. But
well, to be fair, I mean, the talk show was like a real life thing, so it would be like an actor who was on a show now has a talk show. So can we really say that the way that the show ended up with him in the talk show, or is that just
what if?
Is that a real life? Is that a there's a lot of questions there.
I find it extremely hard to believe, and this is going to probably be a topic for a later episode, that the U.S. military would let any kind of alien out of its grasp. I even one as cute and cuddly as Alf. I mean, let's face it, this is a new life. All of a sudden, we're no longer alone in the universe. And what do? We always fear what we don't understand.
Kill it with fire.
But then again, you had the Melmacians. Their planet was made of Melmac, and their great cultural gift to the universe was Booyah Baseball. So it's baseball with fish.
Yeah.
So
El Chapo probably is the one person I know that knows more about pop culture crap than I do. I remember that he really liked to eat cats. But other than that,
yeah, it was Alf that liked to eat cats, not me.
And then he had, then we can't forget that we had the cartoon show. On Alf.
That's true.
About what happened before he came to Earth.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
That show ended with him taking off in the ship.
Yep.
So my theory. My theory is that he is just such a charismatic guy. Well, no, I'm gonna scratch that. My theory is that the show and the talk show, two totally separate things. It's like an actor who was in a show and later goes on to have his own talk show. I think that it ended exactly the way that it would end in real life. They took him off to Area 51 or someplace like that, hacked him up into tiny pieces, and Alf's dead.
Yeah, that was it.
Sorry, that's my theory.
It's I'm going to go part way on this one, that Alf was just such a charismatic thing that, yeah, they took him to Area 51, but it was the type of thing that, like, their basic examinations, they're like, okay, he's obviously mammalian of a sort, but it's like he doesn't spit acid, he doesn't have acid for blood.
We can't turn him into a weapon.
Yeah, we can't weaponize him. He doesn't have any great scientific knowledge. Was basically Joe Blue Collar that ended up on Earth, so what the hell? Let's use him to get funding for NASA.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
We'll turn him into a celebrity and reap the benefits. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I think that's good. Next up we've got Angel. Now, if you all remember Angel back from, what was it, late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, late 90s.
Yeah, subsidiary, not a subsidiary, but a spin-off of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This ending is kind of odd, is the fact that now you've got everybody around in a dark alley, and basically the entirety of the evil that comprises the universe is hurling at them.
You got dragons, monsters, all kinds of big bads.
And then it just ends. It just stops.
It's literally the charging into battle, and that's it.
That's it.
It was never intended to be canceled. It was one of those that was canceled in the off season. J.J. Abrams actually would later go on to say that he thinks it's the perfect ending for it because it implies that the battle never ends. Personally, I think that's a load of crap. So, how do we think this one went on?
I always like J.J.'s metaphor. I choose to believe in that metaphor, that it's just the symbolism between good and evil.
So you think that they beat all the big bads that they were going up against?
No,
and they all lived happily ever after?
I don't believe they beat the big bads. I believe what it is it just shows that for every good, there's an opposite.
But the challenge is, what happened next?
Well, that is the challenge. They are in a continuous battle between good and evil. It just never ends.
Yeah. I think the title character got killed off in that, and everybody else might have survived, or at least one or two of them. But yeah.
Yeah.
I think that. Yeah, that's about as good as I got. I was never really a big fan of
I think part of it is they got done filming it, they looked at it, and they were just like, crap, how do we start next season and top this?
Yeah.
I mean, we got orcs, we got dragons, we got demons, we got everything. How do we go above this?
There was a great ending point.
It was. I mean, that one was fitting. I actually liked that ending, but like as far as what actually happened next, I think that I mean, obviously there's no end to that battle. Eventually, they would have just had to have fled the scene. But at least one or two of those characters, if not Angel himself, probably died in that battle.
Yeah.
Because they were all pretty much they were pretty tore up.
They were pretty tore up by the time they even got there. Yeah. Up next, we got one of my personal favorites, The Sopranos. I loved this show. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And, of course, the final episode, they're sitting in their infamous diner. The room is filling up with people from the past that all have a reason to want to kill Tony Soprano. And then suddenly, the screen just goes black. I actually called into a radio show at one point in time and explained how this is the perfect ending to a show. And the actual metaphor that is in play here is the song that was being used, Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. And it literally ended with, Don't Stop, screen went black. There's no way you either kill Tony or you don't kill Tony. If you kill Tony, you're going to just have a lot of really angry fans. If you let him live, you're going to have a lot of angry fans because a lot of people believe that that's how the show should have ended, with him dying and his son taking over. But by playing Don't Stop Believing and just stopping mid-sentence with a guy coming out of the bathroom, potentially with a gun in his hand, is literally saying, whatever you think happened, believe it, because that's what happened. It's genius. Yeah. It's absolutely genius.
Yeah, I kind of got to agree with you on that one, because I mean it's one of those things. You either end on a high note or you carry on into obscurity.
Yeah.
It's
so as far as what happened next on that, I'm going to go with well, the creator of the show said that he believes that Tony lived. So I'm just going to have to go with that. That the guy that was coming out of the bathroom wasn't coming out to shoot him. He just came out of the bathroom, went and sat down at his table, ordered his cheeseburger, and went on about his business.
See, I'm a little bit different. I liked The Sopranos when it was in its heyday, and I remember catching back up to it when it was on Netflix. I think Tony died. I really do. I think he got offed. There was just too many people coming into the restaurant at that given time that wanted him dead.
Every single person in that restaurant had a reason to.
I think Tony died. I think that symbolism of it cutting off mid song is
that was
the point where he got shot.
And that was a lot of the fan views as well. Was the reason why it stopped mid sentence or mid lyric, I guess, and just went to black was the moment that Tony was shot in the back of the head. So that was the last thing he saw, the last thing he heard.
Yep. Well, up next we've got Quantum Leap. Now this is a unique, as far as its time,
one of my favorite shows.
Back in the 90s. The premise is this guy keeps flip-flopping back and forth in time, trying to right the wrongs of the past to get back home.
The catch is that he's always leaping into someone else's body. However, in the final episode, he leaps into himself, and it's the day that he's born. He's in this bar. The bar is in this coal mining town. All the characters that are there are people from other previous episodes of the show, but they're not the same people. But he recognizes them all. And the bartender himself, Sam, believes that he's God. And essentially he tells him that you can go home anytime you want to. You can leap wherever you want to, whenever you want to. Do whatever you want to. You are in control of this. Not fate, not time, not God, not, whatever, you. So, of course, the episode ends with he leaps back to save Al's marriage, Al being his hologram companion, and then it just goes to a black screen and says, Dr. Beckett never returned home. Yeah. So what happened next?
Well, I've always been of the thought process that he just continued to pop here and there wherever he thought he was needed to right whatever wrongs, but then that kind of sets up a whole paradox effect. The whole going back and killing your grandfather thing.
And then, of course, there was the idea that was kicked around for a while that this opened it up for a sequel, reboot, whatever you want to call it.
His daughter.
To where, yes, Dr. Beckett's daughter, when she gets old enough, she actually picks up the Quantum Leap project again, and now her whole thing is... She's trying to save her dad. Now, this never really
Unfortunately.
never hasn't been made into a show yet, but the idea is around, and people have talked about it. I think it would make a great show. It's Quantum Leap was one of those that it was a good show. They bounced around so many time periods.
Quantum Leap is one of my
it always managed to stay fresh.
It was
top two favorite episodes or TV shows of all time. I mean that was a Wednesday night at 9. You don't bug me for the next hour. I'm in my room, door closed, TV on. But to finish this off here, we have the granddaddy of cliffhangers, that being Lois and Clark. The New Adventures of Superman.
Oh, man. This is a personal hatred of mine, just the way it was left off.
Baby Cape.
Number one, who is it? What is it? I've always there's a lot of theories out there that it was Cadmus, that it was Star Labs, that it was Kara Zor-El. I personally believe that it was Supergirl. They were going to bring Supergirl in for the 5th season and try to set something up with that. But again, we're never going to know.
I'm going to go with the theory that the way that they didn't kill off Lex Luthor so many times on that show, I think that I'm going to go with the Cadmus theory myself. I think that it was go more of the Superboy, the clone.
Oh yeah, the clone,
the Kurt Connors.
Yes, the Kurt Connors, the Superman clone that became Superboy. That's my theory.
Yeah, that's mine as well. It was one of those things that it's like that's got to be Cadmus.
They were done with Lex Luthor for good at that point. So where do you go from there?
Yeah,
Cadmus. You've done all your other big villains and stuff, unless you're gonna do Doomsday. Which good luck with that.
Yeah,
but
not on a TV show.
Not on that TV show especially.
Yeah.
So I think that wraps it up for today.
What do you think happened on any of those shows? Pick out your favorite, or what's your favorite cliffhanger? Tell us what you think happened after the screen went black and the credits started to roll. Leave them in the comments below. Look us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. And El Chapo, thank you for joining us for this for this game. We'll do this again sometime. And till next time.
Here is your rushing clip of day.